Let's be honest, most people hear philosophy and think of pretentious debates about whether chairs exist or if we're living in a simulation. But that completely misses what philosophy actually does for humanity. Philosophy is our immune system against intellectual viruses, our navigation system in times of crisis, and our laboratory for testing ideas before we bet our future on them. Think about the biggest challenges facing humanity right now: artificial intelligence, climate change, political polarization. None of these can be solved by data and technology alone. They all require us to answer fundamental questions. What makes something conscious? What do we owe future generations? How do we balance individual liberty with collective good? Philosophy gives us the tools to tackle these questions systematically rather than just going with our gut feelings. It teaches us to spot logical fallacies, challenge our assumptions, and consider perspectives we'd never thought of before. In a world of fake news and echo chambers, these skills aren't academic luxuries, they're survival tools. But there's an even deeper reason why philosophy matters now more than ever. As technology accelerates change, we're facing questions our ancestors never dreamed of. Should we edit human genes? Give rights to artificial intelligences? Let algorithms make moral decisions? We can't just look up the answers, we need to reason them out carefully, considering all angles and implications. The fascinating thing about philosophy is that it doesn't just help us answer questions, it helps us figure out which questions we should be asking in the first place. Many of today's problems stem from asking the wrong questions. Instead of how can we grow GDP, perhaps we should ask what actually makes a good life. Instead of how can we build more powerful AI, maybe we should ask what kind of relationship do we want with artificial intelligence? Some might argue that philosophy is too slow and impractical for our fast-paced world. But that's exactly backwards. The faster things change, the more we need careful thinking to avoid costly mistakes. Philosophy is like a slow-motion camera that lets us examine our assumptions and decisions before they have real-world consequences. Consider how many disasters in history came from people not thinking things through, from environmental destruction to oppressive political systems. Each time, someone should have asked, what are we assuming here? What could go wrong? Who are we not considering? These are philosophical questions, and they're just as relevant to today's challenges as they were in the past. The world doesn't just need more philosophers in ivory towers, it needs philosophical thinking everywhere, in businesses making ethical decisions, in tech companies designing algorithms, in governments creating policies, and in everyday people navigating complex moral choices. Philosophy isn't just about finding answers, it's about developing the wisdom to ask better questions and the rigor to examine potential answers critically. Without more philosophical thinking, we risk becoming extremely efficient at doing things we haven't properly thought through. We might solve technical problems while making moral ones worse. We might answer questions that don't matter while ignoring ones that do. The world needs philosophy not because it provides all the answers, but because it helps us be less wrong, less often, about things that really matter. The future will bring challenges we can't even imagine yet. But with philosophical tools and thinking, we can face them with wisdom instead of just reacting blindly. That's why philosophy isn't just valuable, it's vital for humanity's future.